Whether you're playing a game, a sport, or leading a team in business, it's important to pay attention to the score. And to do this, you can use a scorecard. Now, a scorecard is a tool that you can put metrics in to identify blind spots, set goals, and track performance. But it's important that you don't just track the data. It's important that you look at it and use it, leverage the knowledge in it so that you can increase performance. And this can really be powerful for a team, because when a team gets in the game, they can take their play to a whole new level. And a lot of team members really appreciate feeling like they're contributing to something that matters. Today, we're going to be talking about how to lead a team to greatness by utilizing a scorecard. We're going to be talking about how to define what to measure, how it will get measured, and the power of raising the bar.
Welcome to Growth Amplifiers, where we showcase the best tips, resources, and tools to amplify and scale your business.
And first, let's just get over the bad connotation. There are some people that think, oh, I don't know, tracking things and focusing on performance might really hinder my team. Then they're just not being valued as a person. Or maybe it's too tedious. I'm going to say flip that script, right? Amplifiers amplify. So we can say if you're really trying to provide more value for your team, giving them some focus, giving them something to work towards to achieve their best is actually something that's contributing to their lives. It's important not just to say, hey, here's all this performance things that we want you to do. You want to share the bigger why of the business. You want to help define goals that are important to the team, share how the team's contributing, and then define what's in it for the team members themselves. It's a bigger process. Know that the scorecard can be powerful, but you've got to work with the team to buy into it. And that's how you can get them to really see, hey, this is how we could work together to achieve this common goal. It can create a growth culture in your team. Start small and scale through time. That's how change happens. Let's start talking about how do you determine what to measure? In a business, there's countless of things you could potentially measure. And if you tried to measure everything, it would be overwhelming. We want to focus on what are you trying to achieve? Sometimes you may be trying to increase something like the number of referrals you're getting in a business or how much revenue you're achieving in a particular time frame. Other times you may be trying to decrease something like the number of mistakes in operations. In fact, I was working with a team one time who had that challenge. They had a lot of miscommunication in their processes, and it led to a lot of overlapping work, mistakes being made, costly time, and frustrated customers. Not to mention frustrated team members because they had to deal with the frustrated customers, right? We said, all right, we want to decrease the issues, so that's one thing we can start tracking, the issues themselves. And then we can start seeing what are the common issues that are repeating. Then we can start processing them so we can eliminate them from repeating. This took a little bit of time to identify the issues, start to define which ones were the most common, prioritize them, and then work through resolving them so they did not continue to repeat. Through time, they reduced the amount of issues that they were having internally, which led to better performance, happier customers, and happier team. So it's important to identify what you're aiming to achieve, and then sometimes having the conversation with the team themselves to define what are the metrics that we can measure that will influence and predict a result. It's worth taking the time to do this. Question for you is, what ideas do you have to encourage a team to start using a scorecard or improving their use of a scorecard if they're already using one? I'd like to see that in the comments. Next, if you know what you're going to be measuring, it's important to define how you're going to be measuring it. Who will be measuring the data? Where will they be measuring the data? When will they be measuring the data? What frequency? What days of the week? What time? Having a consistent process for measuring is important. I was working with a team that did a lot of tax resolution services, and they were all action takers, but the challenge was they were taking a lot of different actions in silos, and they weren't making a lot of forward progress together as a team. They didn't have clear accountability on who was tracking what or who had responsibility for what metrics. And so while they were all taking action, there were some things that were moving forward and some things that were stagnant or potentially even going in reverse. So what we did is we defined what are the important things that we're trying to improve. What are the metrics that we can start measuring? Who's going to take accountability for a particular metric? Who's going to take the responsibility for measuring that metric? When are we going to put it in the scorecard? How are we going to review that together as a team so that we're learning from this data and continually improving each week? The outcome was astonishing. There were some elements in the business when it came to customer follow-up that were completely not being done by anyone. And just by paying attention to it, they were following up with their customers more, helping to resolve issues in a more timely fashion, and they increased their customer retention and referral simply by working through that process. success. So question for you is, when it comes to miscommunication among team members, what do you think are some of the biggest culprits? You can have miscommunication on, I thought this person was going to do it, I thought that person was going to do it. What are some of the miscommunication issues that you see coming up with a team? Love to see that in the comments. So now we're talking about the third component, raising the bar. So if you set a goal, you want to set a goal that is going to be a challenge. You're going to try to stretch yourself to achieve the goal. Stretch your team members to try to achieve the goal. And if you don't achieve the goal, then you can go back and review and say, why didn't we hit the goal? How can we perform until you achieve the goal? If you do achieve the goal, that's when you can raise the bar and increase the challenge of the goal. This helps everyone grow. The important thing is you want to do this incrementally. For some goals, even small as 1, 2, 3% could be a good increase. For others, it may be 20, 30, 40% increase. It depends on the goal. 10% might be a good medium average of increasing, but again, it depends on what your goal is, what the situation is, what the team is, and what's possible. You want something that's achievable and will stretch performance. Now, it's important not to set the goal too high, because if you do and the team cannot achieve that goal, even if they're trying their best, it could backfire because the team could get demoralized or demotivated that they can't hit the goal no matter how hard they try. So you want to stretch it at such a way that you can achieve it if you push. Now, what some people do is they actually create two different goals. A goal that would make sure that they're on target to achieve something that's important, and a stretch goal, which is even a little bit harder, a little bit more challenging, but would be possible as well. So depending on your business, choose what is best for you. But remember, make sure that this is a fun experience. Reward people for their actions and commitment and improvement. It's all a way to grow. I want to ask you, what question do you have? Do you think it's better to raise the bar too high or to maybe not? Because it can make a difference. Some people believe you should aim for the stars, and if you hit the moon, at least you did that. I've found that if you aim too high and it's unachievable, it can have the opposite effect. Everyone has their preferences. Love to hear your comments. Here's the amplifier action. Start a scorecard or implement even one idea to improve your scorecard if you already have one. Not sure where to start? Reach out to a guide to get help you create that scorecard for your business or to take it to the next level. And I'd love to hear a time when you were able to achieve greatness by using a scorecard. Please put that in the comments. Love to hear those stories. And if you'd want to share your stories on Growth Amplifiers, we're looking for guests who can tell some pretty cool stories. In our next video, I'll be sharing the difference between a scorecard and a scoreboard. Love to hear your thoughts. Keep on amplifying.
To show your support, take a moment to amplify this message by sharing it online. To connect with me or gain more business growth insights, visit www.growthamplifiers.com. Thank you for your support.